What's going on, fight fans? A few hours ago in Saudi Arabia, and yes, I did catch it live. We saw Anthony Joshua regain the heavyweight title that he lost a few months ago in New York to Andy Ruiz. Let me start out by saying that I picked AJ. I actually picked him by TKO in the 8th or ninth round. I did not think that the fight was going to go a decision. I picked AJ by TKO because after seeing the way that Ruiz tipped those scales at 283, I thought there was no way that he was going to last. I thought maybe AJ would get some body work in, weigh him down, and basically retire him in the 8th or ninth round. But as you all saw, the fight went the distance. Let me start with some pros and cons with AJ. Let me start with the pros for Joshua. I love the fact that he stood tall, he used his height, and he actually used his jab. He kept Andy Ruiz at the end of his jab. My next pro would be I love the way that the new AJ looked. He went from 247 to 237, and the weight loss, I think, actually made a difference. He probably not only lost some of that weight he probably lost probably was muscle. He probably knocked off a little bit of that muscle to help him retain his stamina. I was talking with one of my guys on Twitter, and he had mentioned earlier that he didn't think that AJ would be able to last a full fight moving like that. But we see that the weight loss definitely played a factor. Another pro would be AJ's footwork. He stayed on his feet, moving left and right. I like the fact that if every time Ruiz would take a step to move closer, AJ would always take a step back to stay out of range. And what AJ did in moving like that was he stopped Ruiz from being able to plant his feet and land any bombs. I like the fact that AJ fought smart. I didn't hear the crowd booing, but he didn't buy into, you know how sometimes the crowd will start booing and the fighter was try to do a little bit more. No, he put on a Bernard Hopkins performance by ignoring the crowd and sticking directly to the game plan, which was to throw the stick out there, keep Ruiz on the end of it, and keep moving his feet and never ever put his back against the ropes. Let's see. Let's talk about a few cons. The only con I would say with AJ in this performance, because I thought it was a brilliant performance, was the clinching that he was doing. I didn't like the I didn't like the clinching. He mentioned something about he and his trainer were working on clinching. I didn't like it because I didn't think he really tied Ruiz up. He clinched him, but somehow Andy always had an arm free to hit him either close to the back of the head or hit him in the body. If you're going to clinch a guy, you need a clinching Vladimir Klitschko style where the guy cannot get his arms up and the ref has to, break you free. But that's pretty much it for cons. I thought AJ had an excellent performance. Now let's talk about my guy Ruiz. The pros, he did make it 12 rounds. Even with that extra weight on, he made it 12 rounds. Another pro would be that cut that he got in the first round. Look, even with that cut, it didn't slow him down. He didn't blink. He didn't pause. He just kept fighting, and he kept trying to do the best he could. That's all the pros I really have for Ruiz. But let me hit these cons. 283 pounds. I did not like the fact that he came in at 283. And then he did an interview before the fight saying that, well, he really weighed 268, which is exactly what he weighed in the first fight. But look, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm big on Andy Ruiz. Even back in the days when he was fighting on not Telemundo. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't think of that channel he used to fight on at 2:00 in the morning. It slips my mind now, but I was rolling with him back then. If you look at his body, he looked all of 283 pounds. Maybe it's because I just watched the first fight yesterday between he and AJ, but he looked like he put on 15 pounds. And it tells me that he didn't take it serious, that he fell into bad habits, that he was gloating of the fact of him being the heavyweight champion of the world. And to be honest, even though I picked AJ, I'm a little bit disappointed in Andy. Andy really had a chance to be a main player in the heavyweight division. He ruined it, man. He ruined it by coming in so heavy and not being able to come up with a different game plan. It seems to me that Andy's game plan was, look, this guy is chinny, which I still think Joshua is chinny, and I'm gonna eventually catch him and rock him and get him out of there. It didn't work. I was very disappointed in Andy. So now let's talk about what happens next. Andy Ruiz. Let's start with Andy. There's still some good fights out there. Look, he's not done. He wants to fight AJ a third time. AJ said he wants to fight Andy a third time. I personally don't see the need for it. I think that it's going to be the same outcome. I think that AJ is going to box circles around him again. He's not going to get hit, and that's just going to be, how that's just going to be what the fight is. Now, Andy could surprise us. They could run this fight back, I don't know, let's say in May. And he might come into the fight at 256 pounds. Lighter on his feet. He already has fast hands for a big man. Like faster on his feet where he can close the distance between he and AJ and maybe knock him out that way. That'd be his only chance of winning. I don't really need to see a third fight, but if they're going to do it, then let's do it. If they don't do it, there are guys out there for Andy to fight. I mean, Luis Ortiz is out there that he could fight. He could get his hands on, maybe try to get his hands on Dillian White or, somebody of that caliber. As for AJ, what I would really like to see, instead of seeing him fight Andy Ruiz a third time, I would like to see him ringside for Fury Wilder 2, and I would love for him to fight the winner of that fight so we can get an actual true heavyweight champion. Because as we all know, Tyson Fury has not lost since he beat Vladimir Klitschko. So he is still technically the linear champion. But let's see what he and Wilder can do, and let's see AJ fight the winner of that fight. If not, I guess we'll see Ruiz again. But anyway, fights fans, that's all I got. I just want to get this in. I did enjoy the fight. It might have been boring to some, but I enjoyed the fact that Anthony Joshua, a heavyweight of that size, fought an absolute masterpiece. That's all I got. Give me your thoughts right here on YouTube. Give me your thoughts on Twitter. Holla at y'all later.